Welcome to Forced Vibrations in Dynamics of Machines. Let us start with session 1. In this chapter, the student will be able to understand the phenomenon of forced vibration and determine the natural frequency of transverse vibration. The introduction of this chapter is: forced vibrations of single degree of freedom system occur when work is being done on the system while the vibrations occur. In case of forced vibrations, work is done on the system during the time of vibrations. A mechanical or structural system is often subjected to external forces. These external forces may be harmonic or non-harmonic. They may be periodic or non-periodic, having a defined form or a random form. Earthquake excitations and acoustic excitations are also form of external excitations. These excitations that occur to a system can be easily detected. Internal excitations are those which are occurring due to unbalance or due to defects in the system itself. The unbalance in the system occurs due to rotating and reciprocating parts. Unbalance may occur due to magnetic effects. Unbalance may occur due to loose or defective mating parts. Unbalance may be due to thermal effects or bearing or journal defects, and variation in turning moment of the engine, etc. We shall discuss about the forced vibration of undamped single degree freedom system now. Consider an undamped single degree of freedom spring mass system. Figure shows the classical spring mass system. In this figure, we can see that the spring has a stiffness K and the mass is M. When the force F is applied on the mass, it is called as forced vibration. So the spring mass system is excited by a sinusoidal forcing function F omega, which is equals to F naught sin omega t or F naught cos omega t, as shown in the figure. Here F naught is nothing but the amplitude of the force and omega is the circular frequency of the forcing function. In the figure we can see that when the force is acting on the mass, the displacement caused from the equilibrium position is x, and the acceleration of the body is in the downward direction, that is x double dot. Here the spring stiffness acts on the mass and therefore the spring force is Kx, which is shown in the upward direction, and the force acting on the mass is in the downward direction. Now the forces acting on this system are analyzed. The external forces are spring force Kx in the upward direction and F naught sin omega t in the downward direction. This is the force acting in the downward direction and the spring force is acting in the upward direction. Applying Newton's second law of motion to this existing system, we can write mx double dot is equals to summation of the forces. That is, mx double dot is equals to summation of the forces acting are minus kx. Here we take the sign convention for upward direction as minus kx plus F naught sin omega t, which is in the downward direction, hence plus F naught sin omega t. This equation can be written such that it becomes x double dot plus k by mx is equals to F naught by m sin omega t. Let us call this as equation 1. The solution of the equation 1 may be written as x is equals to xc plus xp, where xc is the complementary function and xp is equals to particular integral. That is, the solution is a combination of complementary function and particular integral. Now, let us know and obtain the complementary function and particular integral one by one. The complementary function is obtained from the differential equation mx double dot plus kx is equals to 0. Therefore, the solution of this equation is xc is equals to x cos omega nt minus phi. Let us call this as equation 2. The particular integral solution is in the form of xp, which is equals to a sin omega t plus b cos omega t. Here a and b are constant. Let us call this as equation number 3. So we can write now for the particular integral solution, that is x dot of p is equals to, by differentiating this equation we write a omega cos omega t minus b omega sin omega t. Further differentiating once again, we get x double dot p is equals to minus a omega square sin omega t minus b omega square cos omega t. In this equation, we can see that it resembles the equation of xp. Now, substituting the values of x double dot p and xp in equation 1. So, we have the equation 1 as x double dot plus k by mx is equals to f naught by m sin omega t. Substituting here the values of x double dot and x, the equation becomes as given below: minus a omega square sin omega t minus b omega square cos omega t plus k by m, x value, that is a sin omega t plus b cos omega t, is equals to f naught by m sin omega t. Let us call this as equation number 4. Now, this equation 4 can be written in the form of minus a omega square sin omega t plus k by m a sin omega t minus b omega square cos omega t. Here, this equation is written in such a way that when the brackets are opened, the similar terms are combined together. So, a omega square sin omega t plus this equation k by m a sin omega t are written together minus b omega square cos omega t plus k by m b cos omega t is written here is equals to f naught sin omega t plus, since we do not have any cos term on the right side, we write that as 0 cos omega t. Equating the coefficients of sin omega t and cos omega t on both sides, we get equations 5 and 6. That is, minus a omega square plus k by m a is equals to f naught by m and minus b omega square plus k by m into b is equals to 0. So, these two equations are obtained after equating the coefficients of sin and cos omega t. From equation 5, we can obtain the value of a as a into k by m minus omega square is equals to f naught by m, or else a is equals to f naught by m divided by k by m minus omega square. This is the value of a. Let us call it as equation number 7. From equation 6, we can obtain the value of b. Here, taking common b, we can write it as b into bracket k by m minus omega square is equals to 0. Since this term is not equals to 0, that is, it is nothing but the term b is equals to 0. So let us call this as equation number 8. Substituting the values of a and b in equation 3. We have in our equation 3 this xp is equals to a sin omega t plus b cos omega t. We shall substitute the value of a and b here. So xp is equals to the value of a is f naught by m divided by k by m minus omega square sin omega t plus, since b is 0, the second term becomes 0. Now here this can be further simplified, f naught by m sin omega t. So this term can be written f naught by m sin omega t divided by k by m minus omega square. Next, f naught by m sin omega t is equal divided by k by m is, as we know, it is nothing but omega n square. So therefore omega n square minus omega square. Now f naught sin omega t, here we have in the numerator f naught sin omega t, and when we take omega n as a common, we have to divide the term by omega n for both the terms. So therefore, since m in the numerator is written here m into omega n square, so therefore it is taken outside, and inside the square bracket we have omega n square by omega n square is nothing but 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. So this is further simplified, f naught sin omega t and m in the denominator, omega n square is nothing but k by m, 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. So here m and m are cancelled with each other. So therefore we are having the equation of xp as equals to f naught sin omega t divided by k into bracket 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. Therefore the complete solution will be x equals to capital X cos omega n t minus 5 plus f naught sin omega t divided by k into 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. So this equation is taken as equation number 10. This equation shows that the motion of the mass is equals to the sum of the free vibration and a forced response, and the ratio omega by omega n is called as frequency ratio. This is called as frequency ratio. If complementary solution xc is neglected, then the displacement of the undamped force vibration is given as x is equals to f naught sin omega t divided by k into 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. So this complementary function, if it is neglected, we have only the value of x as given by equation 11. In this equation, when sin omega t is equals to 1, the displacement will be maximum. So therefore, the equation for maximum displacement can be written as x max is equals to f naught by k divided by 1 minus omega by omega n whole square. Let us call this as equation number 12. This is about the derivation part. Now moving to the multiple choice questions. We have the first multiple choice question as frequency of vibrations is usually expressed in. What is the unit of frequency of vibrations? The first option is number of cycles per hour, number of cycles per minute, number of cycles per second, and D is none of these. Frequency of vibrations are always expressed in terms of seconds. So therefore, number of cycles per second will be the right option. So therefore, the correct answer for this question will be option C. The second question is the time interval after which the motion is repeated itself is known as. So options given are time period, cycle, frequency, isolation. The time interval after which the motion is repeated itself is known as time period. So therefore, the right answer will be option A. The third question given is the equation m into d square x by dt square plus c into dx by dt plus kx is equals to f naught sine omega t is a second order differential equation. The solution of this linear equation is given as a complementary function or a particular function, C sum of complementary and particular function, and D difference of complementary and particular function. As discussed in our derivation, we know that mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equals to f naught sine omega t. The solution of this will be a sum of complementary function and particular integral function. So therefore, the right answer for this question will be option C, that is sum of complementary and particular function. Coming to the fourth question, a body is said to be under forced vibrations when options given are there is a reduction in amplitude after every cycle of vibration, no external force acts on a body after giving it an initial displacement, a body vibrates under the influence of external force, none of the above. When do we call that the body is under forced vibration? When the body is under forced vibration, there is a reduction in amplitude after every cycle of vibration. No external force acts on a body after giving it an initial displacement will be a wrong answer. And a body vibrates under the influence of external force. So here the right option will be option A. With this, we come to the end of this session 1. Thank you.